Well, hi everyone. I'm John Ritlin with a real honest rant about WWE's Nia Jaxtrocity. Yes, that was intentional wordplay because I have fucking had it with Nia Jax. Nia Jax is an unsafe worker, is completely not cut out to be in wrestling. She absolutely can't do anything in the ring without injuring people multiple goddamn times. Accidents happen. There were wrestlers that took out jobbers and beat them up. The Road Warriors, Buzz Sawyer, many people throughout the years in Jim Crockett Promotions. And there are some that shouldn't be in the ring because, yes, they are going to get hurt because they aren't cut out for wrestling. That much is clear. Wrestling is a contact sport, it is a contact line of entertainment, and people are going to get hurt. They're going to get hurt hitting the mat. They're going to get hurt taking some moves. And even though wrestlers are usually trained to take them as safely as possible and give them as safely as possible, Nia Jax didn't get the fucking memo. Because apparently, thanks to Rock the Dwayne Johnson, thanks Dwayne, we now have this atrocious piece of shit in WWE. Now, I've tried giving Nia Jax the benefit of the doubt, but really I have started to lose a ton of respect for her. Now, we could go these comments really, really quickly before I dive into more of this rant, but we go these comments where, yes, Ronda Rousey was doing the whole work shoot thing where she was talking about fake fights with her friends and ungrateful fans and she wouldn't come back full time. That's okay, Ronda, because by the end, we didn't want to see you anyway. And there were some good matches that she had. There were some bad matches she had, and I got sick of Ronda. But at least Ronda could have some good matches and could be in the ring with people that would help her out. Then Nia Jax, apparently in a call like on Twitch or something, or like it was a Twitch stream with a whole bunch of other women, she was upset, without mentioning Ronda, was upset because Alexa Bliss got hurt while working with Ronda. Now, I don't know if it was SummerSlam or Hell in a Cell. It might have been both matches. And yes, Ronda Rousey would toss a lot of people around, and Alexa Bliss probably did get hurt. And that's unfortunate. That should not have happened at all. If anybody's serious about this, nobody should have gotten hurt. Alexa Bliss is also made of glass, so maybe they shouldn't have put her in with Ronda Rousey, who, for better or worse, tried, but would, carelessly injure some people because she wanted to make it look as realistic as possible. And to be fair, some of her best matches, Ronda Rousey's that is, were with people in the ring better than she was. Her Mania 34 debut and all that. Maybe Stephanie wasn't better than her, but Angle and Triple H were, and were able to lead her and do some good things. There was a lot of good that came out of Ronda Rousey's first run in WWE. I really have no desire to see her back, but Nia Jax gets upset because she's defending Alexa Bliss and all that. And okay, I'm not a fan of Alexa Bliss in the ring, but you know what? I don't want to see her injured, and that's unfortunate if that did indeed happen. However, she got injured. Arm injury, concussion, any of that stuff. That is unfortunate. But Nia Jax doing this whole thing where she's trying to work to start a program with Ronda Rousey whenever this pandemic is over, they're trying to build this feud. Here's the problem. None of the matches that Ronda and Nia Jax had were all that good. Now, they were okay. You had the Money in the Bank match, and you also had, I believe it was a TLC, if I recall correctly. Now, Money in the Bank, you had Nia Jax as champion, and you had Alexa Bliss cash in, because that's exactly what we needed, was another Alexa Bliss, title run, just a couple months after we got that. But okay, we gave it to Nia Jax. Fine. Okay, whatever. Nia Jax had been injuring people before that, but it wasn't necessarily as, we didn't, hate her all that much for it, or fans weren't necessarily against her because they were thinking, okay, accidents happen. She did do a shoulder breaker to Charlotte and dropped her right on her goddamn head. Maybe that's where Charlotte got in her head to start just injuring people, like when she concussed the fuck out of Kairi Sane at TLC 2019. But this is about Nia Jax. So Nia Jax calls out Ronda Rousey. So she wants to have a fight with her. I'm 6 foot and this kind of stuff and whatever, and I can move her around, I can beat her up. As much as I don't like Ronda Rousey could probably beat the shit out of Nia Jax. Yes, Nia Jax is bigger, and yes, probably is stronger, but Ronda is much more skilled. Nia Jax is essentially a two-legged, tranquilized zebra that can't get away from a goddamn crocodile, even though the crocodile is sleeping and, has been dead, actually, for the past 2 goddamn years. She can't even get away from a dead crocodile because that's how uncoordinated and how unmotivated she is to ever get better. This is what bothers me about Nia Jax. You see the injuries to Ember Moon and other stuff. Yes, injuries do happen. People will get injured, and that this much is true. This much has been true in wrestling since the dawn of time, since the 1930s, the 40s, the 50s, all the way now to the modern era. But what has Nia Jax shown that she's good at? Injuring people and being an uncoordinated twat. And that's what she is. The only reason she's there is because of Rock the Dwayne Johnson. Nobody would have given her a second look except to say, okay, she's kind of big, we'll put her in the goddamn ring. And before anybody jumps on me thinking that I'm fat shaming, I don't give a damn if Nia Jax is 50 pounds, it'd be a little worrying, 100 pounds, 200, 300, 400, 500. I don't care, because some of the best wrestlers, like at least best big men, were, super heavyweights. Vader was 400 something pounds. Yokozuna, until he got to the point where he was about 700 pounds, it was a little scary, was quite goddamn good. There are some that are over 300 pounds that are like, 6 foot whatever. There are some wrestlers that are huge that can do some great stuff. John Tenta, Tugboat, Typhoon, the Shockmaster is a bad example. The whole point is there are some big wrestlers. Aja Kong, Bull Nakano, except you see Bull Nakano now, she lost a lot of weight. There are some women that have been big that can wrestle and can do some great shit, and yes, they make it look good, but they don't intentionally hurt their opponents because they're uncoordinated twats that only got into wrestling because their cousin got them in there, because he had to put somebody in there, because nepotism has run wild in WWE and in wrestling in general for many, many years. And Vince was like, oh, this is such good shit, we'll get Dwayne back for a match. And they got Dwayne back for a match at WrestleMania 32 for like 8 seconds against Eric Rowan, or 6 seconds. I don't really care. That match was shit. So Nia Jax, though. Let's take a look at some of this stuff. Here's what bothers me about Nia. It doesn't bother me that she's bigger than the other women. And again, about the fat shaming, I don't care. And I also don't care if she is, somebody that motivates quickly. Don't care if she motivates plus size women saying, well, she can do it, I can do it. Because this isn't about weight. If she motivates you to be a better person, great. That's cool. But you should not just say, oh, she's so inspirational because she's plus size. Who the fuck cares? Because she clearly is an uncoordinated twat who just happens to be big. And yeah, maybe I'm going to get some hate for that. I don't fucking care. Because there are plenty of women that I talk to on Twitter, on social media, that are wrestling fans that I respect the hell out of. And I don't give a damn what your weight is, what your sexuality is, what gender you identify as. I don't care. I don't fucking care. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. If I'm going to talk to you, if you're, from, say, if you're 18, if you're 18 to 38 to 58 to 78, I don't care. I will talk to you about wrestling, and if you want to be cool, we'll be cool, and we can have some cool goddamn discussions, and we can talk about Nia Jax. But here's what I fucking hate about Nia Jax, that she shows no remorse for what she does. So many people were getting injured like crazy. Kairi Sane, who had just come back recently from a goddamn concussion after Charlotte had brained her uncontrollably and been a goddamn 2-bit twat that couldn't do anything in the goddamn ring unless her daddy said, hey, go out there and woo and do all that. And Charlotte's at least a good athlete, but she can't do a goddamn moonsault. She can't do a whole bunch of goddamn stuff, all that well, and kind of has to be led even though she's a natural athlete. Let's take a look at Nia, though. Let's take a look at Nia really quickly and see what's good about her career. Name one match she had where she wasn't carried. To a goddamn good match. I don't care if somebody is a big fan of her because I'm not attacking them. I don't care if you are because I'm not going to tell you you can't be a fan of her. You know why? Because we're all allowed to like and dislike who the fuck we want. But fuck the hell out of Nia Jax. She's an uncoordinated, ungrateful twat that does not deserve to be in wrestling. Yes, she probably gets picked on unnecessarily for her weight, for her race, and that kind of stuff, and that stuff's uncalled for. That stuff is uncalled for. You guys want to do that, whatever. I can't tell you what to say, but I don't even need to go after the easy target, even though I have in the past, and I feel bad for that. Nia Jax is an atrocious wrestler, and here's the main reason why I want to do this clip, and I'm going to wrap some stuff up here in a nice, neat little bow, probably in about another 10 minutes, because I always go long on these things. But the main reason I did this is I've seen match after match, moment after moment, where Nia Jax just carelessly tosses people around the ring. Now, yes, when you're working with somebody bigger and you're small like Kairi Sane, you have to know how to take this stuff. Kairi Sane does know how to take this stuff. In the most recent match on Raw, last night's Raw or this week's Raw, if you're watching this a little bit later and you don't look at the timestamp and wonder what the fuck I'm talking about. If you're watching this in the future, forgive me for not possessing that kind of clairvoyance to see that. You see that Kairi Sane is up in that, choke bomb or whatever, and she's saying, and it's an empty arena show, but she's saying, I'm not set, and Nia Jax just tosses her. Kairi Sane, who has absolutely been brained and destroyed, and I don't know how her brain is still working. Like, seriously, and I mean, I've had a few concussions. I'm obviously not an athlete, and I'm not saying I could do any of this stuff. I never could. That's why I never got into wrestling. I also hate traveling. But Kairi Sane saying that, and Nia Jax still tossing her. Nia Jax not doing something where she took her and, just threw her into the corner, but not throw her like that. Nope, Nia Jax had to be, an unmotivated, careless, goddamn stupid twat. Because she doesn't care, because she knows she has a job for life, because Vince McMahon, Triple H, and other people want to please Dwayne. And I like The Rock, let me make that clear. I like some of his movies. I like quite a bit of his career. But if this is actually the case and she only got the job because of Dwayne, which actually is the only reason, because what other reason would you have to put somebody that can't even fucking work, that doesn't want to get any better? She's gotten worse. She has been on NXT TV since, 2015? Maybe sometime in about sometime in 2015. So it's been about 5 years. And she was fast-tracked to get on NXT TV without being really, allowed to grow at all as a performer or get any better or be with people in the ring that could lead her, that could make her better. Bayley, who isn't the best worker in the world, couldn't get a good match out of her at TakeOver London. Others can't get a good goddamn match out of her. I can't name one good match that Nia Jax has had where I haven't cringed and said, well, that was really terrible. That was really terrible. Why is Nia Jax allowed to be in the goddamn ring? And then the Becky injury. Where, yes, it motivated Becky and got Becky over and stuff like that, but it was still an inadvertent punch that does happen. And I don't want to even say that's water under the bridge, but that was the beginnings of people saying, wait a second, she's really fucking uncoordinated. And then Ember Moon gets injured, and all these people get injured after working with Nia Jax, who just doesn't care about her fellow women. Or if she does, she clearly doesn't understand how to take care of her opponents. There's being a monster, there's tossing people around, there's being a badass, and then there's just being bad at your job. And Nia Jax is bad at her job. Whether she's 50 to 500 pounds, I don't care. She is bad at her job. She is one of the worst signings that WWE has brought in. And this is the company that brought Eva Marie in. But at least Eva Marie, as much as I'm not a fan of her necessarily, tried to get better in the ring. She was used as a valet. And they use her and did what they did. And that's enough about Eva Marie, because this is about somebody who has been pushed and pushed and pushed and isn't any good. Gets worse and worse and worse. Yes, she just came back from double ACL surgery, and I'm glad she recovered. I really am, because maybe I was thinking, okay, a year off after she recovers from injury, she can get better in the ring. And whether she gets better as far as how she looks or just her skills in the ring, she could get better. She could be where she could have a healthy career, keep the wrestlers that she works with healthy, but nope. 3 weeks back, and she injures Kairi Sane. If Kairi Sane is not injured and concussed and out for a goddamn while, I will be shocked. Kairi Sane is a hell of a gamer, and she will work hard, and she will continue to work hard, and she is one of the best women's wrestlers in the goddamn world. Which you would kind of wonder about, because she's so tiny and everything, and she doesn't look like she could hurt anybody, and she actually hits with great impact because she can wrestle. What can Nia do? Toss people uncontrollably and injure them. That's all Nia Jax can do, and then not show any goddamn remorse. And there's playing a character, and there's being this stupid twat that she is. And she is a stupid twat. So I don't care if anybody wants to get offended. I don't care, because you can like Nia Jax. I don't care if you do, because this is my opinion. These are my opinions, and I'm going to stick to them. I don't advocate for anybody to lose their goddamn job, but if Nia Jax got sent home for 6 goddamn months, then maybe it might not be all that bad. Pay her to sit at home. Pay her the downside guarantee and just say, fuck it, we're not going to have a women's division left if Nia Jax is here. Nia Jax has apparently taken the role of a locker room leader. Well, yeah, Nia, if you injure everybody in the motherfucking locker room, you're going to be a locker room leader, because you're going to be the only one in there. They need to not have her in any of these matches. Is she in the Money in the Bank ladder match? I think she might be. Why the fuck is she in the Money in the Bank ladder match? Seriously, this isn't... Why? To what end do they need to have her compete for a briefcase? They're already going to give her all the title shots anyway. She'll probably just get a title shot right after Money in the Bank, even if she doesn't win, because they want to please Dwayne, because they want to make her happy, because then Dwayne's happy. Maybe Dwayne will still talk about them because he was able to get out with his health and go have a Hollywood career and then got his cousin some help by getting her a job that she didn't fucking deserve and has been so ungrateful about having. So is she somebody that's maybe like backstage? Cool. I don't care because I'm not backstage. I don't have sources. I'm not a journalist. I'm observing shit on TV. And if you can't see the problem and the problems that Nia Jax presents whenever she is on TV, then I don't know what to say to you. But once again, these are my opinions. I'm not saying that you guys can't have different opinions. But Nia Jax is atrocious. And she doesn't deserve to be in WWE. She doesn't even deserve to be in wrestling. Like, you go back to another woman, Awesome Kong, somebody that didn't fit the mold of a typical woman because of the wrestling landscape at that time. And as somebody that was strong, that was bigger, but could move good. She could move good and have great matches, and she was basically Vader for the women. That's basically what she was. If Nia gave a shit about actually being any good in the ring and not wanting to kill the women she works with because they're not ready, and oh, toss, I don't care about you. You're a little girl. I'm not going to care about you because I have a job for life. That's what it came across like. If Nia actually cared and wanted to apply herself, she could be somebody very valuable to WWE. In the end, she's only going to have that job because of Dwayne, and I don't really care what happens to Nia Jax in her career. I don't want her injured. I don't want her to have a disease. I don't want any bad things to happen to her. But you know what? Karma may get her if she wants to be careless like this. So maybe WWE should send her home and say, Nia, quit injuring people or there's going to be no women's division. What the fuck are you doing? How are you so goddamn bad at this? That's the one question. 2020, how is she so bad at her goddamn job? She shouldn't have a goddamn career in wrestling. She's an uncoordinated, worthless, she's just a fucking twat. And yeah, I've said the word twat quite a bit. You know why? Because she is that. She comes across as entitled. And I don't understand how in the world somebody could defend her. You can defend her as a human being if you want to an extent, but to watch somebody do this, it's ridiculous. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I really hope that I don't see another Nia Jax match again, because I am absolutely disgusted with how she shows no remorse at all. And playing a character on Twitter is one thing. But she didn't even look like she gave a good goddamn there. She was just like, oh, I tossed Kyrie. Okay, whatever. She's injured. I don't care. Charlotte brained her and stayed around. So I'm going to stay around because they know that I'm part of the Rock's family, and they want to please Dwayne. So yeah, Nia Jax can piss the fuck off. They need to get rid of her because we need a women's division that's still going to be around and not broken because of somebody that doesn't care to get any better at their job. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retland. I'll see you soon.